I was on my basement floor for 40 minutes before anyone heard me calling. When my son Daniel finally got there, he didn't ask if I was okay. He looked at my wrist, already swelling, and said, "Dad, this is exactly what we were afraid of." 3 days later, I was sitting in a small room at Hilltop Manor Senior Living, signing papers I didn't fully read, while my son told me, "It's for your own good, Dad." What I didn't know that day, but found out 5 months later, was that he and his wife Rachel had already toured that facility 2 months before I ever fell. They weren't waiting for an accident, they were waiting for an excuse. But let me take you back to where this really started. My name is Walter Briggs. I'm 65. For 33 years, I ran a small sign-making shop on Grand River Avenue in Lansing, Michigan. My wife Carol and I built that business with our own hands, dollar by dollar. Carol passed away 2 years ago. Since then, it's been me, our house, and our son Daniel, who's 39 and runs a sign installation company a few blocks from where my old shop used to stand. I'm not a hard man to live with. I keep my opinions short and my promises long. Carol used to say I was steady as a porch post, but steady men get underestimated, and that turned out to matter more than I ever expected. After the fall, my wrist was in a cast for 6 weeks. Daniel and Rachel visited almost every day at Hilltop Manor, which, looking back, should have comforted me. Instead, something felt rehearsed. One afternoon, my granddaughter Emily, who's 19 and doesn't yet know how to hide her feelings, said something she probably wasn't supposed to. "Grandpa, I'm glad you like it here. Mom and Dad looked at like 3 other places before this one." I asked her when. She said, "Around July." My fall happened in September. That's the first domino. They hadn't reacted to an emergency. They'd been planning for one. 10 days. That's how long it took for a for sale sign to go up on my front lawn. 10 days after I moved into Hilltop Manor, Daniel said it was to simplify things, but the speed told me everything the words didn't. A house doesn't get listed, staged, and sold in under 3 weeks unless somebody needed the cash before they needed permission. Carol's jewelry box, her sewing table, my tools, the same ones I used to teach Daniel how to wire a sign, all of it went in a single weekend estate sale while I was still learning how to use a walker. I didn't say a word to him about it yet. I just started paying closer attention. It was Emily again who handed me the last piece, without meaning to. She mentioned Daniel had put money into some crypto thing with Uncle Pete, Rachel's brother, almost 2 years back. It had collapsed hard. Daniel never told me. He'd been quietly drowning the whole time, and instead of asking his father for help, he decided to take what he needed without asking. That's when Daniel made his move. He went to a buyer about the building on Grand River, my old shop now leased cheap to his sign installation company, saying he had authority to sell or refinance it. He was banking on a general power of attorney I'd signed for medical decisions years ago, stretching it far past what it ever covered. Here's what I came to understand. Lying in that small room at Hilltop Manor, forgiveness is a door you can choose to leave open, but trust, once it's broken, is a lock. And I decided I would be the one who chose who got a new key. I wasn't angry yet. I was just paying attention closer than anyone realized. My wrist healed before my patience did. I waited until I was steady on my feet, and then I asked Mr. Patterson to help me do one thing, quietly, calmly, with paperwork instead of shouting. At Thanksgiving, with the whole family at the table, I laid it out, not with rage, just facts, one after another, the way I used to read off a parts list, the early tours in July, the 10-day house sale, the crypto losses, the forged authority on a building that was never his to touch. Nobody at that table said a word for a long time. The lease on Daniel's company space wasn't renewed that spring, not out of spite, but because a trust has to act in its beneficiary's interest, and Emily, now old enough to have a voice on the board, agreed it was time the building served the family the right way. Daniel had to relocate his business to a smaller, more expensive space across town. I moved into a clean 1-bedroom apartment near downtown, paid for with my own rental income, on my own terms. I started mentoring Emily on how the trust worked, how to read a lease, how to know the difference between someone asking for help and someone taking it. Daniel apologized. Eventually. Quietly in my new kitchen, without Rachel there to soften it. I told him, "I remember someone telling me it was for my own good. I think it's about time you found out what that phrase actually feels like." I didn't slam a door on him. I just stopped handing him keys he hadn't earned. They moved me out of my home and called it kindness. They forgot the one thing kindness can't survive, being used as a cover story. If you found out the people who said it's for your own good never meant your good at all, would you forgive quietly, or would you let the truth do the talking the way I did?